Former CIA covert operations officer Mike Baker joining us from London. Mike, Connor Powell's analysis that so many in the region view this as a test, not only of the United States, but of sort of the international community by Assad to see just how far he can go in his atrocities. You agree with that?
Well, I agree that I suppose you could call it a test, although I think they actually already know. To what degree there'll be a unified response. I suspect after that last missile launch that the U.S. had in April of this past year, that they understand there will be something. Something will happen. Now, I think what they're thinking is that they can drive a wedge in between the various allies. Right now in London and certainly in France as well, there's a great deal of conversation going on in their respective war rooms over what they need to do, and they're talking with the U.S. as well. There has to be a unified response to this. I think, more likely what we're, look, I tell my kids, right, push back on a bully. Never let a bully get away with it. And we've allowed that to happen for several years here. Russia, Mike, Iran, even North Korea, and in allowing Assad to stay in power.
What's unique about a chemical weapons attack is the visual images. And we're going to put some of the images that are now coming out back up on the screen. And we understand that back in April, the thing that really moved President Trump to launch those cruise missile strikes was images just like this. So conceivably, Assad has made a calculation that whatever the United States is going to do, quote unquote, to punish him is worth it to inflict this kind of terror on his people. So we now have President Trump saying there will be a big price. What has to be done by the United States to change Assad's calculation?
Well, we have to change Putin's calculation. We have to. I mean, because the only reason that
but what
is
concrete actions?
Is because of
concrete actions can be taken? What is a disproportional response that would make Assad and Putin, who's the guy really supporting him, say, "Okay, we miscalculated. We're going to take a step back"?
Right. Well, I think it's there's so many layers to this, but what we've got is we've got Putin over the years, and look, let's be clear, Assad wouldn't be in power unless Putin had stepped in and conducted very significant airstrikes. By the way, killing a lot of civilians at the time, but also Iran supplying Hezbollah primarily. And also, in fact, North Korea. North Korea has been supplying a variety of technology. So what do we have to do to change the calculus? We've got to convince all the players, front and center being Putin, that this has got to change. But the problem is we're fighting history. We're fighting years now of
I get all that, but
the other way.
So the U.S., the administration just sanctioned 17, essentially either Putin oligarch friends or business organizations. We've thrown out a bunch of their diplomats because of the gas attack against the guy in London, the former Soviet spy. None of those things change Putin's calculus. So give me some concrete actions.
Right.
Do you have to take out, do you have to go bomb Assad's palace? Do you all of a sudden start lighting up Russian aircraft with U.S. anti-aircraft missiles over Syria and all of a sudden have an air war? What is it? What concrete action is there?
Well, I think, first of all, you pointed to the sanctions, and it is important to note those are incredibly aggressive. I mean, compared to, again, the package of sanctions that we've seen against Russia in the past. So keep those in place, layer on more. But then as far as a military response goes, look, we know a handful of sites in Syria, a couple of them outside of Damascus, where they have in the past been producing chemical weapons. Let's level those to begin with. As a proportional or whatever you want to call it response to this latest attack. There has to be, I would argue, look, unless what we're saying is we can live with this behavior, unless we're saying as a country we're okay with allowing this sort of behavior, and if that's the case, if that's how we want to be, if that's the people we want to be, then fine. Let's all focus on internal concerns and talk more about Russian collusion. But if we decide that we need to take a stand, we've got to lock down the information. We got to confirm all of this, and then we've got to take an action. And I would argue that let's go after some sites that we've already targeted. We already know what they are, and we've got that mapped out, right? We know it's not like they're sitting down for the first time talking about this. So.
Conceivably, the president has come up with something. If he says there's going to be a big price, that's a promise that a president has to deliver on. You can't put out that threat or that warning without it. So conceivably, they have something in mind. Mike Baker, appreciate your insights, sir. Thank you.
Sure.
All right.
Thank you.